So I'm smoking a vintage Custom-Bilt Generation 1. And you won't be able to see it, I'm sure. Let's see. Custom-Bilt, very lightly stamped along the shank there. Yeah, probably not. So, you know, it's so worn from use, and yet it's in pretty good condition, that it has almost a different feel to the rustication than some of the newer Custom-Bilts. In fact, it has a kind of a rounded, scalloped quality to the rustication. It's interesting. So, gotta love that wide saddle bit. Makes clenching ever so much easier. And there's a reason I'm smoking this pipe today. So, it is a Generation 1, assumed to be 1938 to 46. So we're gonna dive into that a little bit, courtesy of my friend Joe Busso in St. Louis. So I'm gonna read you the email, just to bring you up to date. So this was from April, so I apologize, Joe, for not, I just was kind of waiting for when it felt right to do this, you know, and I'm just the messenger. Joe did the work on this. So before we get into that, a little housekeeping. So I'm smoking some MacBaren Burley, and I wanted something that would kind of stay lit, number one, while I talked. And that Burley is from 2012, so it's getting a little age on it, so it's much more mellow. Still has kind of a nicotine kick, but the flavor is kind of chocolatey and nutty. And it's about the best Burley I've tried. And the Burley seemed like it might be appropriate somehow for this little video here. So this is from Joe Busso, an email, kind of just sort of out of the blue back in April. Hi Tom, my name is Joe Busso, a longtime background subscriber and watcher of yours. I came into the pipe hobby about 2 years ago, and I haven't looked back. I'm a police officer here in St. Louis, and your videos have really helped me get through the current state of affairs, the craziness out there, and many a long shift. I especially enjoy your videos about the Custom-Bilts. I don't know why. There's just something intriguing about the history behind them, and they're great pieces of Americana. Exactly. I don't know if you've heard about or seen the newspapers.com website, but it is a wonderful resource for any sort of research you may need to do. I've used it for some genealogical research and located articles about ancestors I would never have found otherwise. I'd highly recommend it, and I believe it's around $40 a year for a yearly membership. So I thought I'd see what kind of digging I could do into the Custom-Bilts. Now, I don't have the Bill Unger book, so some of this may already be covered in there, but I just thought you'd find these clippings interesting. Just kind of a look into the man behind these awesome, solid old pipes built like a Mack truck, or maybe an old Willys Jeep, to be period correct. Unfortunately, I couldn't find anything at all about the BP chums. Not an old newspaper ad, nothing. Very strange. I'll keep looking. And you know, I do find that strange also because there just seem to be a few of them out there, you know, on eBay. They just kind of keep popping up regularly. Not as many as Custom-Bilts, but as we'll see, some of the numbers of Custom-Bilts, the number of pipes produced was significant, and Bill Unger has said that too. Now that's great for us because in the present day, because it means there are lots of estate pipes available out there. So Custom-Bilts, just, there's always like 3 or 4 or more regularly on eBay. And they just roll through there. And then the odd BP jump, you know, so I have about 20 of these clippings that I converted to PDF. I will probably have to send them in multiple emails, or if you have Dropbox, maybe I can send them to you that way. Or I'd even be willing to print them out and send them snail mail. Let me know. Now that's probably what I should have done, because I'm furloughed, so normally instead of reading from a computer screen, my laptop here in my lap, I would have printed them out, but I don't have access to the office currently, so. Oh, and my first Custom-Bilt out of 3 that I now own was one that I found in our abandoned St. Louis Police Headquarters building. It was an old homicides detective desk. I was very excited about it, although I later found out it is probably a later gen Custom-Bilt, not a custom-built. I wonder how many cases were pondered and sorted through while he puffed away on that pipe. Yes, that is exactly the spirit of these old vintage pipes. That, Joe, you nailed it. Yes. Thanks for all you do, and I'll be looking forward to your next video. Respectfully, Joe Busso. So, is that cool or what? You know? I tell you. So I am just a messenger here. The pipes speak for themselves, and people's enthusiasm for finding out about them, like Joe, is just, that's where it's at. So let's see if I can, on this screen, I kind of have a lot going on here. Let's see, COVID, oh yeah, it's over here, okay. Let me be a Luddite. Okay, so I'll post this clipping. It is from the, let's see, from 16 April 1944, from the Cincinnati Enquirer in Cincinnati, Ohio, from April of 1944. So it was almost exactly to the day in April that Joe sent me these clippings. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So yeah, I'll put this article, I'll include it as a clip. Let me see if I can figure out how to more easily read this. Oh, come on. Come on. There we go. It's titled, Pipe Maker is Smoker of Cigarettes, but Knows Business from Briar Roots to Finished Product. By Robert E. Johnson, I'm sure long dead. Indianapolis, Indiana, April 15th, from the Associated Press. So Tracy Mincer, who smoked cigarettes, produced 40,000 pipes last year. Remember, this was 1944, so in 1943, 40,000 pipes. No two of them precisely alike. He feels this is a fair record for an outfit in the $5 to $25 field, and hopes this year to meet a market for upward of 80,000 pipes, each with a shaggy personality of its own. Shaggy personality. Nice. Sales records indicate Mincer is growing in stature with smokers, but he tends to deprecate his preference among them. He claims to be shoved. Claims he was shoved. So, now quoting Tracy Mincer, about 10 years ago I was working in a drugstore in Chicago, he says. A pipe outfit sent us a big advertising placard showing how pipes were made. You know, a block of wood, then the rough bowl, then the finished bowl, and so on, all pasted to this board. Well, I followed his directions and made myself a pipe. Had it lying on a shelf behind me one day. A doctor friend of mine picked it up, great pipe smoker. I don't know what became of it, but he brings it back. You make this? He says. Make me one. Okay, I said, but it'll cost you $10. I don't care about that, he says. I like the pipe. It's got a lot of wood in it. That's my theory about pipes. They should have a lot of wood in the bowl. That's what makes the pipe. First thing I knew, I had orders for 50 pipes. Had an apartment. I rigged up some tools in the Pullman kitchen and made pipes. Found a place in Chicago to get the briar. I kept at it till the apartment manager called up, said I was making too much noise. Quit. Been in Minneapolis 6 years. We had 41 employees on the last payroll. So he began in Chicago, 6 years from 1944, 1938. So I think that's where Unger got the 38. I think he had some other corroborating data on that. The incidence of misinformation about pipes is high. For instance, most smokers believe pipe shells are made from the root of the briar plant, but Mincer says it is the gnarled bulb of the briar tree, growing partly below ground, from which the bowls and shanks are made. This bulb may be the size of a man's head or considerably larger. I'll bet these days bulbs that size are really rare, because that was old growth Algerian briar. The tree trunk grows from it above, and the roots from it below. Mincer imports it from Algeria via Spain, shipments touching New Orleans and clearing through the port of New York. French-Algerian concerns gather the bulbs, cut, cure, and ship to manufacturers little blocks of wood which resemble pipe bowls only as the work of a wayward child with a saw might resemble them. The curing is the vital process, its secret guarded by the French more closely than those of the Maginot Line ever were. But Mincer knows that slabs cut from the briar bulbs are cured for 8 or 9 months. First they are boiled in what the French won't say, and then the sap and oil removed by nature under layers of carefully moistened sawdust. Improperly cured, a pipe will follow the characteristics of wood and burn right along with the tobacco. Properly cured, it allows the oils of the burning tobacco to seal the pores and to cake. At Mincer's plant, the size and shape of the pipe is dictated by the current run. There may be a run of 1,000 pipes with squat, thick bowls, jutting shanks, and thin, curved bits. This isn't very squatty. A lot of his were kind of BP Jum-like, more squatty. Within this pattern, the individual pipes vary as to carving and bowl facings, all done by hand on power-driven fluters and sanding wheels. During these processes, the wood is not that nutty brown color pipe smokers admire, but almost white. Staining and waxing follow, and then handling by the smoker and the heat of the tobacco continue the mellowing of complexion. Breaking a pipe in, he says, stay out of the wind. Don't smoke it too fast. Pack the tobacco firmly. You won't have any trouble. Quote, now a friend of mine has something like 150 pipes in beautiful condition. The inside of the bulbs are beautiful. The bowls are beautiful. I tell you what he does. Before he smokes a new pipe, he sticks a cleaner in the stem and fills the bowl up with sherry wine. Dumps it out, lets it dry, fills it up again. The alcohol seeps into the wood and the sugar coats the bowl. A lot of fine little crystals. On the other hand, an old man told me how he broke pipes in. Been making pipes for years. When he gets a new pipe, he says he boils it in water. What do you know about that? Here's our main problem in getting the water out of the wood. He goes and sticks his pipe in boiling water. And that's the end of the story. Now, there may have been more, but this is the clip. So I'll include a few ads, period ads, also, and then there's some more stuff here. We'll do some more of these. Joe, I really appreciate it. You definitely have the spirit of the pipe community, sharing what you know, feeling passionate about it, and enjoying it for what it is and not what it isn't. You know what I mean? Just amazing. Just amazing. Yep. So. So it's clouding up again. It was supposed to be a beautiful day, first in what feels like weeks. And, you know, everybody yesterday, it was rainy. It was dark clouds, you know. And it was just like, I'm so tired of this. Everybody was. So it's much warmer today. But, you know, that's what you get when you live in the Pacific Northwest. So here's an article from December 1st, 1944, from the Indianapolis Star newspaper in Indianapolis, Indiana. Just a short little article. Tracy Mincer, who makes custom-built pipes, says he's not going to let conditions rush him into creating pipes for the fair sex. With production for men behind the demand, the boys still rate the priority. If the ladies wish to smoke Mr. Mincer's fine pipes, they'll just have to make do with the stocky, man-sized brand. He believes women are taking it up only as a fad, despite reports from an engineer at Curtiss-Wright who made radial airplane engines for bombers and fighters. Well, and they made aircraft too, of course. That some of the girls there have taken to pipes, and from the Bowers Envelope Company, where Ralph Jacobs is said to have come upon feminine pipe smokers. A day's production will be given to Eddie Cantor's gift drive for hospitalized servicemen by Custom-Bilt Pipes, Inc. This will amount to 750 to 1,000 pipes, according to Tracy Mincer, augmented by the donation of a day's pay by each employee. So he was assisting vets. It sounds like a day's production was 750 to 1,000 pipes. Wow. So he had 43 employees about that time. This was 1944. Yeah. So the 1942 mention of Tracy Mincer, age 47, in 1942, marrying Mildred Christoph, age 30. That was apparently his second wedding, since here is a 1927, August 1927, Miami Herald wedding announcement. So, in 1927. Miss Eberhardt to wed Tracy Mincer. Engagement of Miami girl is announced by mother. Wedding in September of 1927. Mrs. C.B. Eberhardt is announcing the engagement of her daughter, Ruth Elizabeth, to Tracy M. Mincer. The wedding to take place at the University Baptist Church in Coral Gables, September 8th. Blah, 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 the wedding. Miss Eberhardt comes from Atlanta, where she makes her home. Miss Eberhardt has lived in Miami for a number of years and has many friends here. She and her family make their home in Coconut Grove. Mr. Mincer is formerly from Nebraska, as am I, and has been in Miami for some time. The young couple plan to make their home here. So he lived in Miami before he moved back to Chicago. So I'm trying to think from where he was born in Nebraska. It was western Nebraska. Wasn't McCook. I'll put it in the down below if I remember, and I'll look it up too. God, now I gotta know. I forgot. It's just a dinky little town. My folks had a friend. They were both from Nebraska, and so they had a friend of theirs who was born there. So yeah, just kind of interesting, you know. Here we are thinking about Tracy Mincer and the pipes he carved that we enjoy and have an interest in, and yet, you know, he's gone. He's long gone, and I can't quote, you know, when he died, etc. But it's interesting, and it's like people come and people go, and he happened to be associated with something that he was passionate about, that we also are passionate about, and so we remember him. But you know, and Joe has been digging up articles, you know, about him. Very cool. Will any of us have that sort of prominence where somebody else might want to 70 years later do a little research in the archives and find something about us? I doubt it, you know? And when people stop remembering you, you sort of just simply disappear into the mist, you know? It's just a current reality, an always reality. It's always been the case. So this idea of Tracy Mincer and custom-built pipes lives on because of us. So, I don't know, I just find the whole idea kind of interesting. Kind of a monochromatic smoke, this MacBaren Burley, but way better than most cheap Burleys, I'll tell you. Yeah, it's just kind of mellow, and it's nice. I think I'd probably get tired of it. It also smokes pretty well, like Burleys do. And it burns down just a white ash, I'll tell you what. Because it doesn't have a lot of glomp on it. It doesn't have a lot of humectant and flavoring gel and crap, you know. So, and yet it was reasonably moist. I had it kind of cellared up in a mason jar, but Not a bad smoke. Can't really tell what the room note is. Probably that of a brush pile in autumn on fire. Yeah, but anyway, it's fun thinking about Tracy Mincer and how he got his company started, you know, the perseverance, and probably he gave everything he had to that company, I'm gonna guess. Yeah. And there's a product of his that was his inspiration that lives on. I think for most of us, it would be our children if we have them. You know, that's kind of our immortality project. People maybe write the great American novel, but most of what we do has no lasting value. It's kind of the cynical one-line summary. So given that, you just have to enjoy each day as it comes and make the most of it and be involved in that, I would suggest. What else can you do? So anyway, it's an epic year for grass and growth. Have a couple foxglove plants back in the back part of the yard that are well over 7 feet tall. It's just, yeah, it's just a perfect year so far for growth and for mowing. So I may end up doing a little of that today. My furlough status, I got an email. We will probably go back to the office in a more controlled way. Wearing masks, you know, getting temperatures checked before we go in, answering questions, getting a little pass that indicates you're allowed to be there, in 2 to 3 weeks. So that works. So here's another little clip from Joe, from the Miami News in Miami, Florida. January 4th, 1942. So 2 years before that other article was written. Marriages and divorces. You know how papers used to just list those? Marriage licenses. Tracy M. Mincer, age 47. Indianapolis, Indiana. So he had a place in Miami apparently, and Indianapolis. And Mildred Kristoff, age 30, from Chicago. And the same address in Miami. So this was 1942, so it looks like they were living in sin before they got married. But he was 47, she was 30. Okay, rock on, Tracy Mincer. I'll see what else I can find here to include in this little story, and then we'll do some others. It's a lot of fun, Joe. Thank you.